You see it all over YouTube, man. Semen retention and the benefits and all of the amazing things that it does. The girls, the superficialness, the charisma, everything, right? All the gains you're gonna make, all the attention you're gonna get, and all this superficial stuff, right? Even like the internal peace that you get from it, which is in my opinion, the highest reason you can do semen retention, being okay with yourself, getting closer to your connection with God. But what I haven't really spoken about this, and I don't really see a lot of people talking about this, is the sacrifice that's going to take. It requires sacrifice. And I think that's why a lot of people, never see it through, or they stop, or their mind convinces them when it starts to get hard that it's not right for them, because they're starting to see the sacrifices this is going to take. Now, what kind of sacrifices does semen retention have? What does it take? Well, one, and I've heard many people talk about this in my counseling sessions I've done with them. I've experienced it. First and foremost, you're going to have to really give up a lot your life as you know it. Because if you see it through and you continue on the journey, you start to get deep, like you're going to start to get this organic wisdom and this information, this knowledge, and you're going to start to see like, wow, like the way that we live our lives as people and in this society is just super poisonous and sick. I'm not judging it. I don't have any anger or resentment toward it. It just is what it is. The question is, do you want to live that? Like we're constantly just seeking satisfaction externally with relationships, with dopamine hits, with food, with alcohol, with drugs, with video games, with just work, just status, prestige. Everything is external to us. And we get so deeply addicted to all of this, or we just think that that's going to make us happy. And it does for a period of time, right? But the problem is it's very fickle, and you're always going to need more. You spend your life chasing your tail. The sacrifice that you make is that you step out of that life, that way of living. You start to see a lot of the truth of the way things are. The truth that there's nothing that I'm going to be doing that's going to ultimately make me happy. And I think those are the only people that truly stick with semen retention, or the long term, are the ones that just deep down to the bottom of their core have this calling to step away from that. Not do semen retention to get more of this external gain. And the sacrifices is you truly do become isolated, almost like an alien, right? You don't relate to people anymore. You just don't. And there's going to be a period of time that you're going to have to spend by yourself. You're going to be alone. Ironically enough, it doesn't really seem to bother you anymore, because when you start to really step away from everything and you start to see like the way that you've been living is crazy, to be honest with you. I'm not going to say it's wrong, because nothing's right or wrong. It's just crazy. When you step away from that and you become more isolated through that, the reaction to that action, you actually begin to be okay with it, because you're like, well, I don't want to associate with this anymore. But it can be very lonely. That's a big sacrifice. Another one, especially early on in the beginning, you really burn up a lot of your ego and your karma and the things that there's a lot of resistance that comes with being plucked away or stepping away from all of that and starting to become, I guess, more sane, if you will. Your ego is going to resist that. Like when you're on semen retention and you have a spiritual practice and you're doing introspection, and you start changing your lifestyle, you're going to be raising your vibration. You're going to be acting in accordance with a higher vibration, right? Your actions, your words, the things you do, the people you hang out with, all of that. You're not going to be living so much in your ego, this fickle little beast that's constantly yelling in your ear to get more status, prestige, more dopamine hits, more validation, more attention, and all this stuff. And, there's going to be a lot of resistance. You're going to be acting in accordance with a higher level of consciousness, but that resistance comes from your ego. And that's where the tumultuousness comes in with it. It's very loud. And a lot of people back off and stop because, maybe they're not ready to give that up yet, or the ego's too big, or you back up and stop because you want the pain to go away. And then over time, you might come back to it or you might not. It might not be in your lifetime, which is fine. But the true believers, I guess the people that are destined to see this through to the end and make this truly a part of who they are, to truly step out of the matrix, like my people, if you will, people that I'm really sending these messages to. It requires a lot of sacrifice in that regard. Now, the cool part, and this is another problem with our society, is that we live in this very I want it now. The other day, I had Uber Eats for the first time in my life. I've had it on my phone for years, but I never used it. But I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm real tired. I want to just have it easy real quick. And I ordered the food and it was brought to my doorstep. I was like, I know I sound super like old saying this, but I was like, what the heck? This is so cool. I can just have this now and not have to lift a finger. That's what our society's turned into with Amazon, buy one click, dating apps. It's just like this instant gratification. I want it now. I'm going to get it now mentality. The problem with that is easy come, easy go. I feel like a lot of times, especially as men, we've lost that edge and that desire and that burning need to like say, to truly work through hardship. And I think what a lot of people fail to realize is that what's on the other end of that hardship is stuff that money can't buy. That's the stuff that people want, but no one wants to work for it. People would much rather just spend their life getting external prestige and validation to feed their arrogance that they perceive as confidence, as opposed to doing actual work on themselves, burning up their karma. It's the slow process. It's a slow fire that burns. But once the fire is burned up and once you've actually done the real work, it's replaced. That stuff's excavated and it's replaced with internal peace and confidence. So that's the payoff from the sacrifice. But I think a lot of people that watch these semen retention videos or have heard of semen retention and actually want to do the work and the spiritual journey and the introspection, all the hard stuff that comes from it, they're led, for some reason, they think that it's just going to be easy and it's going to happen. Oh, if I just do semen retention for 3 weeks, all of a sudden I'm going to have more attention from women. I'm going to have all these benefits, all this stuff. And even if you do, in that short term, maybe it's a placebo effect, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not living your life right now. You think you have all of these benefits. Do you really think there's anything on this planet that's going to give you like all of these amazing things that people are trying to sell you on semen retention, that's going to happen in 3 weeks? Like, honestly, the problem that you have to watch out for is that there's just people that are trying to sell you this stuff. They're trying to do the clickbait things. They're trying to get you to just watch their videos so they can get the views and tell you like, oh, semen retention is just it's going to give it to you. Just watch my videos on how to do it, And again, I think I'm not saying people's hearts aren't in the wrong. I'm not saying people's hearts are in the wrong place. I'm not saying that. There's no negativity thrown toward those guys. I just think there's a lack of understanding. And I've always wanted to have my videos speak the truth. I accepted when I'm surprised that I even have as many views as I do, or as many subscribers as I do. When I first started my channel, I was like, if I have 5 subscribers and just maybe one person comment occasionally, it says, man, I really took something from this. Like, I'd be like, my job's done. Like, that was all I ever saw it as. Right. But for some reason, these videos have kind of taken off. At least to me, it's taken off, and I'm super grateful for that. And I really value and cherish every viewer in the little community that it is. It means the world to me, but I don't know. I just always want to make sure that I speak the truth. I'm never gonna sell out just for views, or money or any of that. I just want to make sure that I'm being honest and real. And what's, the thing about the semen retention, and part of that is just speaking the truth of like the true sacrifice that it takes. Now I will say, like, I had a mentor tell me one time, like, the secret to life is find out what you want, then find out what the price is, and then ask yourself, am I willing to pay this price? Yes or no. If you are, go do it. If you're not, then that's fine too. Go find what price you're willing to pay. But these types of things on semen retention it's a one of the biggest prices you're going to pay in life, because you're literally, as I said, giving up your entire way of life, your entire way of being. If you go deep enough, you're going to become an alien. You're not really going to fit in too much in society. Sometimes I wish I could just go back and just be a regular guy. At least I think life would be a lot easier in the short term for me. Because man, it's hard. It's really hard, like existing truly authentic, and the enormous amount of pushback that comes from that society, because the society is not meant to run like that. The whole thing would fall apart, right? So I just try to keep to myself and just, be as nice and kind a person as I can to humans and animals, and then that's it. Within my own boundaries, of course. That's something you learn on semen retention, right? Like if you're a person that lacks boundaries, or you have some codependency, or you don't really have your own orbit, like I like to talk about in my other videos, that masculine energy, that stability, and you have a way of maybe going a little too far for people, and then getting resentment built up, and that destroys some of your relationships. Semen retention gives you the spiritual energy you need to introspect and to power through that, to heal it. It raises your vibration, and then those lower vibrational behaviors get let go, right? It's like you're coming up here, and all the things that are weighing you down and don't serve you just get dropped off. But there's a lot of resistance that comes from that, from like taking off that extra weight on your back. Is that worth it to you? Is that worth the sacrifice? To me, it was. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself, though, and I hope it is for the people. And I guess this video is for the people, the small percentage of this, the small percentage of people that are going to view this and also say, yes, that's worth it to me. So I hope everyone has just a lovely day, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Okay.